And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcast on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 tailgate, where they see those sirens in your feed. You know exactly what that means. Yes, it does seem like our long national nightmare will be coming to an end. Yeah, the Michigan football saga, which started with, to be honest, getting blindsided by the news of Sharon Moore's firing, the very uncomfortable sort of fallout that came from that. You've got a program that's reeling, a proud program that has won national championships in this modern era, and now it does appear as though the university is starting to zero in on the replacement for Sharon Moore. Now, Biff Poggi has been the interim coach, taking care of all the bowl preparations as the Wolverines prepare for their bowl game against Texas. But our own Matt Zenitz is able to confirm what's been reported throughout here this Friday, that Michigan has targeted Kyle Whittingham, the former Utah head coach. Lots to get to here, Bud, including the mechanics of it, just a higher grade, just looking at Kyle Whittingham, what we should expect with the idea that he is going to be taken over as Michigan's next head coach, the long-term plan, if there is one. And then I've got a couple of, not either ors, but I've got some interesting comparisons because we always like the sliding doors, right? Right. What if this had happened at that time? What if this had happened at that time, to get into that? But I guess initially, the surface level, you even texted the group. He was like, man, this is wild. Kyle Whittingham going to take over at Michigan. What's your thought there?
I do think it's kind of wild just because, Whittingham is 66. And if you look at the framing of his exit from Utah, we knew that Morgan Scalley was kind of like the longtime coaching waiting, whether official or unofficial. I know for a little while, I think it had to be unofficial because the recruiting rules. The scandal as well. But why did Utah want him out? Are they that sold on Morgan Scalley? It makes me a little bit suspicious on the one hand, because Whittingham is probably the second best coach in the history of Utah.
Oh, sure.
Next to Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
right? Maybe certainly longer tenured than Urban. Urban had higher highs, I think. But
yeah, I think that you could look at the way that he had success at multiple conferences and kind of led that program on the rise. If you're going to make Urban Meyer, multiple-time national championship winner, is a better coach than Kyle Whittingham based on resume, sure. But I think Kyle Whittingham meant more to Utah and where it is today than Urban Meyer did.
I completely agree with you on that. So why did they do they want him out? Did he just not like the situation anymore? I'm curious, why is he available for Michigan? And also, if he's anything close to what he was for the last decade, he's an enormous upgrade over Sharon Moore. And I mean that even before all the other nonsense about Sharon Moore that's coming out from behind the scenes. Sharon Moore only got that job because he was on staff, right? If you took his resume, there's 0% chance that Sharon Moore would have been hired to replace Jim Harbaugh if he had been an external hire, right? Correct. None. So I do think that if he's anything close to what he's been over the past decade at Utah, it's a massive upgrade for Michigan. And I don't think they're hiring a guy to coach them for 10 more years. I know he's 66. He turns 67 next year, but the guy knows how to run a program. I think he'll get in there and probably stabilize things pretty fast. If you thought Biff Poggi could do that, well, Whittingham's got a lot more on his resume than Biff does, and also wasn't in the building for a lot of the negative stuff. So I think, given the circumstances, got to be pretty happy with this, right?
Yeah, I think that I had come so far on seeing all these other coaches reach agreements with their current schools, seeing coaches, but decide that they're not going to be a part, that this isn't the time to try and go take over a blue blood program like Michigan, given everything that's going on at Michigan. I had come to Biff really might get this job. And so that's the thing, is from that standpoint, this is a massive upgrade for Michigan. And that's no disrespect to Biff Poggi. I'm just comparing you to Kyle Whittingham. Do you know what the other thing is? This is a job upgrade for Kyle Whittingham.
It is. Yeah, for sure.
Michigan has upgraded, in my opinion, their coach in terms of coaching chops from Sharon Moore and what they would have gotten from Biff Poggi. And Kyle Whittingham has upgraded his coaching job. Now, it's going to be a challenge, and you are going to have a short leash, because if you think that Michigan is allowing you to be the caretaker of the program, then like you said, this isn't a 10 to 15 year job. You're 66 years old. you're just going to be here for a couple of years. And if it doesn't go well, if you're a fish out of water because you've been spending most of your career in Salt Lake City playing against opponents, and that like life in today's Big Ten is a little bit different, then yeah, this thing could end a little bit more quickly than you would like. I am willing to grant that Utah wanting Kyle Whittingham out is not necessarily a reflection on how Whittingham has lost his fastball as much as it is
Right.
like as much as it is like we have to move on. You know, like you told us several years ago what the succession plan would be, and when you were just continue, I mean, didn't you see that in Tallahassee? I mean, from your time covering the end of the Bobby Bowden era, I mean, a big part of that was, hey, Bobby, we love you. You are the greatest in this program's history, but the program does need to move on a little bit. It doesn't cut down on Bowden's legacy by any means, but at some point, a university does have to move on with the future if they have declared what the future is going to be.
Right. And I mean, like Bowden's legacy was so good, like pre-03, you know, that like I just Whittingham, like they were the second best team in the Big 12 this year, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like they had a harder schedule than BYU by a good bit. I think, and they lost to BYU. So maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe they were third. But
well, I also would look at the last couple of years beforehand where they were losing everybody to injury and still finding ways to be competitive. Like when the injury list was 18 names long and they were still a thorn in the ass of every single player of every team they played. That's what I'm like, okay, this Witt still got it. He can still find ways to be able to pull this team together and go win football games.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you fully on that. So my big question here is, what does the offense look like? Because I thought he made a pretty inspired hire in Beck this year. And is he coming with? Is that an offense that Bryce Underwood wants to play in? Does that matter to Michigan? I assume, given how much money they're invested in the kid, and you know, some of the flashes as well as some of the downs that he had this year are certainly some things that we have to take in consideration. But like, who is coming to be his OC? You know, defensively, max confidence that Whittingham's going to get it right. OC, a little bit less so. You know, so I guess we'll have to see.
Do you think that he will? Is there a potential? Because I remember one of the threads that was discussed, not reported, but discussed about Kalani Sitake's candidacy at Penn State was that he would get to dip into that Utah BYU, I'm not trying to be graphic here, but somewhat incestual coaching tree where all those guys have like kind of all been back and forth, either playing at one, coaching at the other. Is Michigan going to let Witt put together his full staff?
That's a great question. It's one I've thought of, but I haven't read anything or seen anything so far that says we know. But it's certainly one that's going to matter. And you kind of need to get parts of this done in short order because you got the portal coming up, right? Now Michigan, I don't think they've lost that many guys to intending to announce the portal yet. But and Whittingham, I mean, that's a pretty big name. I'm not sure how many kids like on the East Coast know who Whittingham is, but like, you know, you could pretty quickly explain to them, hey, this guy has won a boatload of games at Utah. He's put a lot of guys in the pros at Utah. Like, I mean, you know, he's not somebody you really have to sell him on that hard, I don't think.
I would hope not. I mean, you know, I don't know how much I expect 17-year-olds to be a ball knower or portal kids to be a ball knower, but you know, that's it. It should at least come with the expectations that, hey, do you know who's going to be playing football on Saturday? Isn't it Snoop Huntley? Aren't we at Snoop Huntley's season? Yeah, I mean, that's a Kyle Whittingham quarterback who made it to the NFL. You know, there's definitely enough example for him to be able to say that he can develop pros at a very high level, where I think that for the portal, you are probably 65% just committing to Michigan, but then, you know, also still wanting to commit to the coach as well. So I don't know, man. This is our friend Richard Johnson called this a Christmas gift on Twitter. And if you are a Michigan fan staring down what you were staring down, this is the best case scenario, I think.
Yeah. It's not guaranteed to work. I would be shocked if it's a disaster.
Right.
And it certainly could have been, like, there are a lot of moves you could have made. We'd be sitting here first guessing pretty hard on, right? Like, we might second guess this. I'm not really first guessing this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I do like ceiling floor discussion.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, probably not a national championship ceiling, But, buddy, you are going to keep the floor pretty damn high, Kyle Whittingham and Michigan's talent. So
Football business. They got to put butts in seats, right? Like the number one goal of your athletic department is to not get fired. Ultimately, like the winning, like exceeding is kind of second. To be honest, they don't say that, but we can. Whittingham probably doesn't get you fired, right? Maybe he's a one contract guy and you're back in the market in 4 years. Wouldn't shock me at all. But I think those 4 years are probably like, yeah, you know what? Given the circumstances, we'd sign up for that again.
Okay, I'll take that back. John in the tailgate. Why can't they win a national championship with them? I mean, they could. It's
possible.
It's possible. I just think that when you have to make these calls and you're sitting here in an instant reaction emergency podcast situation, you just have to see what the first thought is. And my first thought is Kyle Whittingham can have a lot of 8 and 9 win seasons at Michigan, where you're coming into November and they're in the top 25. And if they win the right games, obviously the big one being the Buckeyes at the end of the year, then yeah, they could be in the college football playoff and have a chance to go compete for a national championship. I could be wrong on that. I mean, they could be 11, they could go win 11, 12 games, but I think that life in this Big Ten is tough. Yeah. It's real tough for me to look at any team or program who's had to undergo what they've gone through and just say like, oh yeah, with Kyle Whittingham, I'm going to put them above Oregon running hot. I'm going to put them above Ohio State running hot. I'm going to put them above Indiana.
USC, who beat them and just signed the number one class.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, it's a really, really crowded neighborhood at the top of that conference, but Kyle Whittingham, I do think, maintains this will not be a disaster, and this could be really good. A lot of that coming back to number 19, Bryce Underwood, and what he's able to do in terms of his development. Got to think we're getting new offensive staff, right?
I would think so. I mean, O-line really hadn't been looking too good the last 2 years. I think you got to be getting new staff.
Yep. Ooh, Kyle Whittingham has the edge on Lincoln Riley. How's that for a fun little?
Yeah,
little
that's
fun
true.
12 into the Big Ten wrinkle.
But I would take USC's roster over Michigan's roster
right now.
Yeah.
I think I would agree with that. Oh, wait. So, I'm sorry, bud. Do you need to talk me into USC? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, seriously, man.
All right. Let me see if I can find coming up on the other side. More on Michigan targeting Kyle Whittingham to be its next head coach, what it means for the rest of the Big Ten, the coaching carousel in general, and more. Next.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, continuing to look at the news coming out here on Friday morning. Michigan is targeting Kyle Whittingham. He is the considered widely the front runner for the job. Some of the reporting from our own Matt Zenitz and others, ESPN, NBC Sports as well. This is everybody moving in lockstep. For housekeeping purposes, we will let you, the Cover 3 tailgate, know that we all had a lot of holiday family stuff. So we just thought we need to bring you the content.
Yeah.
And hope, if this does end up falling apart and taking a turn, we'll have quite a lot to discuss when we get back together as a full group on Monday. But reading the tea leaves, listening to the reports from the insiders who know, I mean, real quick snap call, we'd be stunned if this doesn't get to the finish line, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he's unemployed. He's available. What's he going to do? Say like, oh no, I've got to hang up on the clauses in the contract? I'm pretty sure he just say yes to take this job.
Think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Glad we feel good about that. Of course, the analysis stays the same. Who's going to go into next season feeling better about their head coach, Michigan or Penn State?
Penn State.
Matt Campbell, just in general, you would take Matt Campbell over Kyle Whittingham?
I think it goes back to the first question we asked. Like, if I was guaranteed that I was getting like prime Kyle Whittingham, yes. Whittingham, although he works out a ton, the guy's in great shape. He looks a hell of a lot younger than a guy who's turning 67 this fall, but he is turning 67 this fall. So, I think I would rather have Campbell. Although it's an interesting question, like maybe not year one.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Matt Campbell is a long-term play. I mean, and that team is losing a lot off of that roster. You know, Matt Campbell is certainly the right hire for Penn State more than Kyle Whittingham would have been the right hire for Penn State. But
who is more likely to get a second contract, Whittingham or Campbell?
Matt Campbell.
Because of age?
And just overall game plan. Like I think that the upheaval that we've got even within that university with no sitting full-time president, with an athletic director who, again, I don't know the athletic director hot stove as well as a lot of people in our industry, but if I could say AD hot seat, isn't that fair to say Ward Manuel is on an AD hot seat?
I would say, yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
The way that I see this playing out, if I'm just sort of to game it out, is Kyle Whittingham comes, brings stability to the program. They win games. You know, if they could have a really special couple seasons with Bryce Underwood, whatever they get, whatever they're able to achieve is awesome. But in the back of everyone's mind, there's going to be a new athletic director, new university president. And by the end of X years, like you said, it works out a lot. Don't know what X would be. But at the end of X years, then you're going for a new football coach to be hired by the new athletic director and the new sitting president.
I would agree with that too. Yeah. Although, I mean, if Campbell doesn't work out at Penn State, you could have a new AD there as well.
Yeah.
Like given how the search went out, right?
That's a pretty, I know we're sitting here talking about the Michigan job, but the Pat Kraft leaked audio allegedly leaked audio of an individual who could be Pat Kraft admitting to players, my job's on the line with this hire too. Kind of awesome. I don't know. I just you're right. He is tied to Matt Campbell's success. So that'll be a lot of what happens in terms of Penn State and how Penn State feels about this, looking at Michigan.
I do think the coach age piece matters less for recruiting purposes now than it used to.
Especially at Michigan, where resources are not hard to come by.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Do we have
also
in
the era which players are paid?
Yeah. Do we have a tax just because our coach is 66? That's fine. Yeah, we can meet that. We can meet that threshold. When you're thinking about Matt Campbell, do you think Matt Campbell wishes he was available to be able to get that Michigan job?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're to believe the rumors, like the Michigan job was the one that everybody thought Matt Campbell was waiting on.
It's crazy. What about the other names that were linked to Michigan? Is there any name that you think would have been a better hire than Kyle Whittingham?
Yeah, I would say like Fish, Dillingham, DeBoer, because this is going to feel short term. Even if Michigan doesn't sell it like that, that's how everybody else will sell it against Michigan.
Yeah. All right. If you're going to go on the length of time, then I will say that, because Jed, I don't know if Jed Fish is definitively going to jump in at Michigan and get you as many more wins than Kyle.
I think he would. I mean, like Arizona was kind of a disaster when he took over. I think he's done a nice job at Washington. What are the Todd Monken rumors? There was
as the Baltimore Ravens are kind of falling apart and Lamar Jackson might get traded and who knows what's going to happen. There was a mention that Michigan might be looking at Todd Monken. Of course, as Michigan has been pulling Ravens assistants for years. Thanks to
Isn't Lamar pretty washed? Like what are they going to get for him in a trade?
I don't know.
I feel like he's always hurt now.
Yeah, it's that he would like to go to Miami to go home, but I don't know if Miami has the package to put together to get him.
That's a very Dolphins move.
Hell yeah.
To overpay for a running quarterback who's like taking 1 million hits.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sun rises, sun sets.
There's a couple Dolphins fans in my group text. This is going to be good.
Yeah. So we've seen Mike McDonald, right? Wasn't Mike McDonald with Baltimore? Then he goes to Michigan, and then of course he gets the head coaching job with Seattle. Jesse Minter, a lot of old Harbaugh names, either John or Jim were mentioned for this job. But that would have been for Todd Monken to take it. I would have said this is going to be a really, really good hire, but it would have been a long runway type hire. I don't know what I would have expected, except for hiring Todd Monken would have been a direct reflection on thinking that hiring Todd Monken helps with Bryce Underwood. Right.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from this? What else would you change about the coaching staff?
Defensively, I bet you he'll be able to find somebody to come like call a defense for him. Offensively, I kind of think he will as well. I mean, like Bryce is a guy I think a lot of people are going to want to work with. They have some decent young receiver talent, and if they supplement that in the portal some, willing to pay up to do so. Probably need some offensive line depth, running back. They're clearly set. So I think he should be able to get a pretty good one put together.
We do not always get fact checked by the tailgate for our NFL takes, but the tailgate would like to remind us that Lamar was all pro last year. So
he was. Okay.
Yeah. He's just been hurt. Maybe washed is a little bit tight, but the Ravens are.
You think he ever has another all pro year again?
He could for sure.
Okay. All right.
I think Lamar Jackson is a very good quarterback. I don't think
I loved him for a long time. I watched him the other night in that game. He got hurt, and I was like, oh man, he looks washed.
Yeah.
But I don't watch like Lamar Jackson every week.
Are we? Oh no. All right. Last thing here. And this is a plea. Are we going to get Cam Rising treatment with Bryce Underwood? For those who don't remember, Kyle Whittingham's injury report shenanigans with Cam Rising.
Legendary.
Were legendary. I mean, even the own broadcast teams were getting misinformation. I tell you what, for a football program that had for a football program who had Connor Stallions and all his Navy spy background that he was trying to institute into college football preparation. I tell you what, Connor Stallions would never be able to crack Kyle Whittingham.
No,
I'm sorry. That's the apprentice running into the master. You're not getting anything out of that. You're getting all kinds of misinformation. You look over here, you look over here. Yeah, it should be. I mean, number one, most important thing for Kyle Whittingham is to get on the same page as Bryce Underwood. You hire your staff, lock down a good portal class, and then you get to work. Also, one of my favorite Kyle Whittingham, a cell phone video from the University of Utah, fire alarm going off in the cafeteria. Kyle Whittingham is sitting because he's on a recruiting call, and he's going to let that recruit know how much he's committed. Hey, bud, I'm sitting in here eating my lunch through an actual fire alarm because that's how committed I am.
I love that.
To Utah. Man fears nothing. Let's see. Any thoughts on Brom? I'm glad Brom's staying at Louisville.
His name was floated for what? For Ole Miss? For
Penn State?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's good for Louisville. I mean, that's your native son. He's a good coach. Yeah. Like that's overall a good thing. All right. We will be back on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time with our regularly scheduled show. And it's a big one because we are going live with our college football playoff quarterfinal locks. So you know the drill. You get in, get up the likes. We give you the locks. The locks move the lines. A little bit later in the week, you'll see the big game breakdowns for the quarterfinals hit your feed as well. That should be a lot of fun. So come and hang out again Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And you can follow him on Twitter at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip _Patterson. Bud, thank you very much.
See you, Chip.